Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another meal prep video. So today I'm meal prepping just a few things. I am off work this entire next week, actually the next 2 weeks, so I'll be home. So meal prepping is not 100% necessary because I will have, time to make things. However, I know myself and I know that if I don't have some things prepped, then it's not gonna go good. So to keep myself on my goal of maintaining, not gaining for the entire month of December, I am going to meal prep a few things. So what did I meal prep? I meal prepped a breakfast casserole, which I'm eating as we speak, just amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. I will show you when I'm making it, how I ended up serving it. And then I'm doing my tried and true low carb taco casserole. I'm just making the base of it. And then when I have it for either lunch or dinner throughout the week, I will show you in my videos that I'm filming every day how I kind of dress it up. You can put whatever toppings you want on there. My favorite way is just some lettuce, some guacamole, tomatoes, cilantro, taco sauce, and sometimes I will put jalapenos on it, avocado, whatever you want. I use plain non-fat Greek yogurt in place of sour cream. So I just kind of make the base of it for meal prep, and then I just throw a ton of stuff on top of it. So making that, and then I'm also prepping some chicken and veggies to have like in protein bowls, again for either lunch or dinners this week. So I'm gonna do some zucchini and yellow squash with some chicken that I had in the freezer. So I'm just gonna cook all that up, and then that way all I have to do is just cook up maybe some rice or whatever the base I want it to be, lettuce, and I can just kind of throw it all into a bowl, but the main part of it is all done. So that is what I'm meal prepping. Let's go ahead and go into the video. We're gonna start with the breakfast casserole. We're going to use 6 ounces of this cubed ham, 1/3 of a cup of fat-free half and half, a little squeeze of garlic paste, 1.5 cups of cheese, the whole bag of potatoes. This is a 20-ounce bag. We're gonna use half of the green bell pepper, half of the red bell pepper, and half of the onion, 6 eggs. Now, with my ingredients you see here, it comes to 5 points. Your ingredients may differ. So if your ingredients differ, your points may differ. I like to really stress that because I get people making comments that their points came out different when you put it into the tracker. And I just want to let you know it could be because you're using different brands. Different brands may be different points. So just keep in mind that you want to always put it into your tracker to make sure you see what your points are. I'm going to use my little handy dandy chopper here, which I've had this for, gosh, so many years. I really don't like it, but it does its job. It's just really loud and kind of annoying. So I have my bell peppers here all chopped up, my onions all chopped up, and we're ready to rock and roll on this casserole. So we have the ham, the onions, and the peppers. I'm going to squeeze a little bit of garlic paste in there. I'm going to use my favorite seasoning, which is the Kinder's The Blend. This is the salt, pepper, garlic blend. Love this one. I actually got this kind of smaller bottle at Grocery Outlet, and then I found a giant one at Costco, so I just keep refilling this one from my big one. Highly recommend getting it at Costco if you go to Costco because you can get these for a really good price. So I'm just going to go ahead and cook this up until the ham is nice and kind of crispy. I prefer mine really cooked well. And then your onions and peppers and stuff are going to be nice and softened and translucent. And then while these are cooking, we're going to go ahead and go work on the eggs. So we have 6 eggs here that we're going to put in here and whisk in the 1/3 of a cup of half and half. Like I said, you can use whatever you want. You can use almond milk in this if you'd like. It's just, you actually probably could even omit this. It just kind of helps make the eggs a little fluffier and a little creamier. So it's really up to you if you want to use the half and half. But I prefer to use a little bit of cream in this. So I'm using this. So we're going to go ahead and put all these in here. We're going to whisk it up, and we are going to add in some salt and pepper. Highly recommend that you always season every layer, especially of casseroles. That way you don't lose the flavor. Sometimes in casseroles it doesn't say that in the recipe. So if it doesn't say it, I just highly suggest you season every layer. Just of course be careful with the salt, but you just want to give it just a little bit of seasoning. That way every bite that you have has a really nice seasoning to it. We're going to add in 1 cup of cheese, and then we're going to save the other half of a cup will be used to go on top. And then we're also going to add in this whole entire bag of potatoes. So just kind of add in the potatoes first and also the cheese. So again, like I said, we're going to do 1.5 cups total of cheese, but 1 cup of it is going to go inside and 1/2 cup of it's going to go on top. You can add more cheese, of course. Most of the casseroles that I kind of base this on, which I will link those down below, actually call for a lot more cheese, but I don't ever find it's really necessary when you have this many ingredients, and it kind of cuts down on the points and the calories and the fat, of course, when you do less cheese. But definitely, if your family likes more cheese, then definitely add more cheese, because you can really never have too much cheese. So after we get this mixed up really well, we're going to add in our eggs. I like to kind of mix this up really well so it doesn't kind of scramble the eggs, because that, you know, vegetable mixture is a little bit warm. But if you mix it really well with potatoes, it kind of cools it down a little bit. And then we're going to add in our eggs, and we're just going to give that a good stir. I feel like breakfast casseroles are so versatile. Like, you could totally change up the veggies. You could add in some spinach in this if you had spinach. You could just do egg whites if you wanted. You could, I mean, there's so much you could do with this recipe that, yeah, I mean, you could change it up so much. You could use sausage instead of the ham. And so now it's going into my pan here. This is going to go into a 375-degree oven, but first we're going to add on some cheese. So again, we're going to put 1/2 cup of cheese on top, just like that, and then we're going to cover this with foil. So we're going to cover it for foil, and we're going to cook this at 375 for 40 minutes. And then after 40 minutes, we're going to remove the foil, and we are going to cook it for like another 10 minutes. And that just kind of helps melt the cheese. It helps get, make sure the egg is all cooked through. And this is what it looks like when it came out that first time. So I took the foil off, and now it's going back into the oven again for like 10 minutes at 375. And then here is what we got for the final product. Now, I put this in my tracker as 6 servings. It's a pretty large serving, but I do like to eat most of my calories in the first half of the day. It just helps me kind of get through the day because my days are so busy. So you could definitely cut this down to 8 servings, which would cut down the points. But again, mine came up with 5 points. This is how I served it on the day I had it for breakfast. So I have a 1-point serving of cottage cheese. I have 2 points worth of avocado, and then the breakfast casserole. And it is amazing, y'all. Next up, my favorite, my tried and true, my low-carb taco casserole. So I'm just going to use these same veggies and plus a whole bag of cauliflower rice, which I did already thaw out in the microwave. And then we have some 96.4 ground beef. Now, I have used ground chicken and ground turkey in this recipe. All of them are good. We're going to use some of the Kinders, the taco blend, and then, of course, some cheese. We're going to use 1 cup of cheese total for this recipe. Like I said, you can mix up the meats and the proteins. It is good with any of them. The 99% lean ground turkey would, of course, bring the points down. This is 5 points, if I remember right. Yes, I just looked. It is 5 points for what I'm using right here. So we're going to use that same pan to cook up my meat because, y'all, you know what? Why do dishes twice? And this has a little bit of fat in it from that ham. So I'm just going to cook it through. Sorry if that bugs people, but you know what? Like I said, we don't need to clean it and then have to dirty it up again when it was just some ham and some veggies in there. So we're going to go ahead and cook up this ground beef. And then in my big skillet over here, we're going to cook up the rest of our veggies. Now, I like to let the veggies cook for a long, long time because I use a lot of rice cauliflower, as you guys see. But you'll also notice that I cook it quite a bit when I eat it because I think it tastes best when it's really been cooking down. And so, especially in a recipe like this. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and just add in the cauliflower rice and all the veggies. And then we're going to add in some of the taco blend from Kinder's as well. Put that in there. And then we're just going to let this simmer the entire time I am doing the rest of my meal prep. And I just have it kind of on a lower setting. I believe I have it on like 5. And I'm just going to let this baby cook down. And I like to actually cook it until it's almost kind of sticking on the bottom. And then you know that rice is getting kind of crispy and it really reminds you of real like Spanish rice. So we're just going to give this a good stir to get that seasoning mixed up and let it do its thing. And then of course we're going to add the seasoning to the ground beef. You can also use regular taco seasoning like the packaged kind, or if you make your own homemade one, but I love this taco blend from Kinder's. I love all their spices. I have so many of them, as you will see. I'm also going to add in a little bit more because it wasn't enough apparently. And we're going to go ahead and cook up this ground beef until it is all cooked through. Now we're going to add in just a little bit of tomato paste as well. I forgot to mention this in the beginning of the video, so we're just going to add in just a squeeze of tomato paste. Why I love to have these squeeze tubes in my refrigerator. And then we're just going to kind of, again, this is going to add to that flavor and just kind of make it taste like Spanish rice. Ground beef is all done. I did add just a little bit of water to it to kind of help that seasoning kind of blend through a little bit. And now we're going to go ahead and do our layers. Now I love to do it in layers in this casserole just because it just kind of holds together really well. I think the original recipe is completely different. I will have a link down below though. That was definitely my inspiration. Now you can see here, this has been cooking for, I would say, at least 20 minutes. And you can see just how blended everything is. So the first thing we're going to do is add this is like an 11 by 7 or 10 by 8, something like that. Casserole dish. I did spray with some cooking spray. Now this is our first layer. Now I really like to kind of smash it down a little bit just to make sure that it's nice and compact, because again, when we cook this, we want it to be just kind of, like I said, in kind of layers where you have that just veggie layer, then we'll have the meat layer, then we'll put the cheese on top, and it just kind of helps hold it together when we serve it. So I don't know, I'm just kind of weird about that. But anyway, so this is our first layer. Now we're going to add in our meat. And we're just going to, again, do the same thing, just kind of pat it down. I believe the original recipe has you also do a layer of sour cream. I have never done it that way that I can think of. I may have done it with fat-free sour cream or Greek yogurt at one point, but because I'm meal prepping this, I always felt like the sour cream would not be good for meal prepping. Like, I don't know, I just kind of felt that it would kind of take away from it, and you really don't need it because you can just add whatever toppings you want. So I never found the need for it, but if you, like I said, I will have that original recipe link down below so you can do it however you want. And now we're going to add on our cheese. We're going to do 1 cup of cheese, and I believe the original recipe calls for like 2.5 cups of cheese. Like, it's an insane amount of cheese on the original recipe. So just have that on there, and then my oven is already going with that breakfast casserole, so I'm going to put this in for 15 minutes. That's about all we need because everything is cooked. We're really just getting everything all melted together. Here it is out of the oven. So like I said, you can dress this up however you want. I usually just scoop some of this out, put it in a bowl, just top it with a ton of toppings. Now this, with using the ground beef and using this cheese, it comes out to 5 points, but you can make it much, much lower when you use ground turkey or chicken, like especially if you use the extra lean chicken and the extra lean ground turkey, then it's 0 points. And then you're only counting for the cheese. So for mine it's 5 points, but all my toppings are typically around 1 to 2 points at the most. Next up is just going to be prepping some other stuff for lunch. So I have this grilled chicken in my freezer that I want to use up, and I have a zucchini and a yellow squash. We're just going to cook all these together. I'm also thinking I'm going to use a little bit of this onion that I had left too and just kind of add that in there. So we're just going to put this in a pan. We're just going to cook it all together, add in some seasoning, and just go with it. And I figured this would be a really nice thing for like a protein bowl or something. Like, I can either throw this in with some lettuce and top it with some dressing, or top it with maybe some avocado or guacamole. Can put it in there with some rice. I have some ready rice in my pantry I can use up. I'm using some of this red garlic Kinders. It's so good. It's really spicy though. It reminds me a lot of the red pepper flakes. And then we have the buttery poultry blend. Now if you have, the buttery steakhouse is like one of my favorites as well. But this is a buttery poultry blend and that red garlic. So like I said, I'm just going to have this in my refrigerator that I can just throw into a bowl. I have no excuse not to have a nice high protein, healthy meal. So I'm just going to cook this until the veggies are still kind of crisp, tender. That's why I cut my zucchini and my squash a little bit thicker, as you notice, because I don't like squash to be really, really cooked. Like, I don't like it like that at all. I like to still have a little bit of crispiness to it. Otherwise, I'm just not a fan of squash that way. So I like to just cook it to where it just has some color on it, and it'll look like this. So this is going to be just in my refrigerator. Like I said, I can just throw some bowls together, throw a salad together, whatever I want to do. But it's just nice having this kind of stuff meal prepped and put in my refrigerator. And that is it, you guys. I will have all these recipes linked down below. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for another meal prep video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.